Welcome back to the Boot Tragedies. Welcome back to the Boot Tragedy. The Saints are set to sign Anthony Barr, linebacker, and running back Kareem Hunt. Now, this shouldn't surprise anyone. They both came in on visits a couple days ago. And if they both pass their physicals, the Saints are set to sign these guys. And these two positions of need for the Saints, very much so. Obviously, the Alvin Kamara suspension for 3 games. You're going to need another running back in the building. And then, obviously, with the linebacker play, being young and DeMario being injured, losing Andrew Dow to IR, you're going to need another linebacker. So Anthony Barr, Kareem Hunt, 2 former Pro Bowlers, are expected to be in the building for the Saints if they can pass their physicals. And I think both of them will be good additions to the team. And we'll start off with Anthony Barr. Obviously, linebacker depth. I already mentioned it. We need another linebacker on the roster. You got DeMario Davis and Pete Warner as your starters. And after that, nobody's really proven. Nobody is really, you got Zach Bond, you kind of know what he is, but nobody's really proven other than that. So bringing in Anthony Barr, a guy that's played in the league for a minute now, will be a good sign. And DeMario Davis is injured right now. They say that they don't expect it to be long-term, anything serious of that nature, but he is injured right now. So just for practice purposes, you're going to need another linebacker. But I still think you're going to need another one just because Andrew Dow was placed on IR. And if you're placed on IR during this time, you're done for the season. So he's towards ACL. That's a 9-month recovery, 9-month plus recovery. So he's going to be out for the season. So you're going to need another linebacker, like I was saying. Just looking at the linebackers on the roster, you got DeMario Davis, Pete Warner. Those are your guys when healthy. We've already discussed that. But after that, it's a bunch of unproven guys. You got Anthony Orji, you got Nick Anderson, Nathie Sewell, DeMarco Jackson. Maybe one of those guys can rise to the occasion, but they're not proven. You have Anthony Barr. Last year he played for the Cowboys, man. Had an okay season. A depth signing for them, kind of basically what he is for the Saints. Just looking at his stats. He had 112 career games, man. He's only 30 years old, so it's not like he's super old. 112 games, that's a lot of experience at the linebacker position in the NFL. Last year, played in 14 games, started 10 for the Cowboys, had 58 total tackles, 35 solo, 23 assists, 2 tackles for loss, 1 sack. That's really good for a guy, that's not your everyday start. He started a lot of games for him, but rotational depth piece, I think that's a really good season. I didn't watch the film, just looking at the numbers, so I don't know how he played for the Cowboys. But, you can't forget those Minnesota years. Minnesota, he was a stud when he was in Minnesota. Number 9 pick in the draft. Let's start there. It's 2014, so it's almost 10 years ago now, 9 years ago. But number 9 pick in the draft as a linebacker, that's big time. You have to be really big time to go that high as a linebacker in the draft. That's what happened in 2014. And then from 2015 to 2018, went to 4 straight Pro Bowls. Like I said, really big time. I remember he signed a big time contract with the Vikings as well, maybe like 5 years, almost $70 million, something crazy like that. So he was a big time player for them. Then they went their separate ways. He played for the Cowboys, had an up and down season it seems, and the Cowboys didn't reattain him. Now the Saints look like they're in position to pick him up now. Really would like this sign at the linebacker position. We're still looking for maybe a defensive line signing, but we definitely need the linebacker as well. And now moving on to Kareem Hunt. If you watch my other video, I said Kareem Hunt might not want to sign with the Saints. I mentioned him when the Alvin Kamara suspension came down my last video, and I was like, maybe Kareem Hunt doesn't want to sign with the Saints just because it's probably going to be a rental, if we're being honest. It's probably going to be a rental, probably going to be a 3-game rental for Kareem Hunt. And maybe that's good enough for him. Maybe he feel like he can show, some things in those 3 games that'll help him get on another team. Because when Alvin Kamara comes back, you're going to have Kamara, obviously he's on the team. Jamal Williams, obviously he's on the team. And you spent the draft pick on Kendrick Miller, so obviously he's going to be on the team. And that 4th running back, you really don't want a 4th running back on that roster unless he can play special teams. A guy like Dwayne Washington, who's not on the roster now, that he can come in and play special teams. I don't see any of those running backs I named playing special teams. I can't see Kareem Hunt on special teams at this point in his career. Jamal Williams, you're not putting Alvin Kamara out there. Maybe you throw the rookie out there, but you don't really want to put a rookie that's never had to do this on special teams. Or maybe you do. But I just don't see it, lasting more than 3 games for Kareem Hunt. But hey, maybe he didn't have any other offers out there. Maybe this is all he can get to a 3-game rental for him. It's good enough. And I would gladly take him for 3 games. He's a really good running back. Only 28 years old, man. The prime of his career. Didn't have a really good season last year, but over 4,000 rushing yards in his career. Had a season with Kansas City over 1,300 yards. 31 career touchdowns through the air. The guy's a good player. He's a good running back. Last year, obviously, he backed up Nick Chubb, one of the best running backs in the NFL, top 3 running back in the NFL. So 468 yards, 3 touchdowns, only averaged 3.8 yards to carry. That doesn't concern me, to be honest. That 3.8, that's bad. That's real bad. Alvin Kamara was 4.0 last year. That's bad as well. But that doesn't concern me. Also had 35 catches last season. But the versatility of Kareem Hunt will definitely bring something to the Saints offense. He's no Alvin Kamara. Let's get that right. Obviously, he can't come out the backfield like Alvin Kamara. But look at his catches throughout his NFL career. 53 rookie season, 26, 37, 28, 22, and then last year, 33. That's a lot of catches. Well, 35. That's a lot of catches for a running back. So the versatility there, and 17 touchdowns through the air. 31 on the ground, 17 in the air. Almost 50 touchdowns in his career. The guy's a good player. We all know it's a good player. I just think it's a weird fit for him. The Saints, I'll love it. If he comes in for 3 games, replaces Alvin Kamara to the best of his abilities, him, Jamal Williams, Kendre Miller, that's a good 3-headed monster going into the season until Alvin Kamara comes back. You don't have to just hammer one guy. That's 3 guys that can get the job done. Alvin Kamara comes back, obviously, a couple guys are going to lose some touches. So I think this is a really, really good signing for the Saints. If they end up passing their physicals like it said, good signing. I mean, looking at his career yards per carry average, 4.9, 4.6, 4.2, 4.2, 4.9. That's why that 3.8 doesn't scare me. I mean, you average 4.9 twice in your career, 4.6 and a couple 4.2. So that 3.8, yeah, he's getting older, but that wasn't it. That Browns team just wasn't good. We played them, and that game was awful. They looked awful. Out there. So, and he was a backup running back, man. So that just is what it is. Didn't really get the reps. He'll be a backup running back as well with the Saints, obviously. Maybe running back 3, running back 2. Maybe he hops over Kendre Miller just because, I mean, the NFL is kind of about who you know, and he's been out there for a minute, so maybe he hopped over Kendre Miller, maybe not. Who knows? But I think it'll be a nice signing for the Saints if they were to go the direction and sign him. But Barr and Kareem Hunt, I would like it. The Saints won't be done. It's going to be a lot of moving parts throughout this training camp. You're going to bring guys in, bring guys out. We've already done that. I haven't talked about all of them just because you don't really need to talk about every last signing because this guy's going to be rotate in and out. We signed Kirkland from LSU. So it's just going to be a lot of moving parts. Guys are going to get cut. Guys are probably going to come in for 2 days and get cut. It's just what happens in training camp. But it is game week as well. I would be remiss to not mention that. It is game week. We'll have more leading up to that game. It seems like the starters are going to play. I guess I can talk about that a little bit. It seems like the starters are going to play in the preseason. I think that's perfect. I think that's great for the Saints. Hopefully the Chiefs play their starters as well. I highly doubt we see Pat Mahomes out there, but boy, I would love it if our first team defense could go against Patrick Mahomes. That'll be a good test, a very, very early test in the preseason. Even if it's only 1 drive, 2 drives, that'll be nice to see. Want to see this offense bad. Maybe it's 1 drive, maybe it's 1 quarter. They haven't came out and say how long it's going to be. But, man, I want to see Alvin Kamara, Olave, Michael Thomas, Jimmy Graham, Foster Monroe, Juwan Johnson, Jamal Williams, Ack. I just want to see them all. Taysom, the offensive line. I want to see everybody out there. It's a lot of weapons. There's a lot of things going on with that Saints offense. And it'll just be, it's a lot of weapons out there. It's going to be hard to mess it up. So, hey, we won't get into that as of yet, but we are expected to play the starters. I'll have more on that as the game approaches. But, man, Anthony Barr, Kareem Hunt, everything seems like, it's pointing that there will be Saints. Let me know what y'all think about that in the comments below. And as always, this is the Boot Tragedies, and I'm out.